The pyramids of Egypt have long baffled historians as to how such large stones could be moved by the slave workers being forced to construct them. However, did you know that a similar yet less famous mystery occurred to allow a sickly man weighing barely 100 pounds to build a castle constructed from stones weighing up to 30 tons? That man's name was Edward Leedskalnin. Edward Leedskalnin was born on January 12, 1887 in Latvia. Not much is known about his childhood, aside from the fact that his parents weren't wealthy. Edward was a sickly boy who would often spend his time reading books, helping him to develop an inquisitive mind and lifelong yearning for knowledge. It was suggested that he learned stonemasonry from his father and practiced this craft in Latvia after coming of age. On April 7, 1912, Leedskalnin arrived in New York City, although he had significant difficulties in finding work. Not long after arriving in the United States, he relocated to the Pacific Northwest, where he manufactured axe handles to take advantage of the logging boom in the area. Edward made an honest living for 10 years, until he allegedly contracted tuberculosis, a dangerous disease of the lungs that spread viciously through the working classes in the 19th and early 20th centuries. In an attempt to look for a warmer climate, Leedskalnin moved to Florida in early 1923, where he purchased an undeveloped area of land. However, this wasn't to be a simple home like others in the area built of wood and of modest size. Instead, Edward would go on to spend the next 28 years of his life constructing an immense castle, which would be known by some in the area as the eighth wonder of the world. Refusing to allow anyone to view him while he worked, he focused on constructing what he would eventually call Rock Gate, although it's now known as Coral Castle. The structure consists of over 1,000 tons of stones, including walls, carvings, furniture, and a castle tower. Commonly mistakenly believed to be made of coral, it's actually made of oolite, a type of limestone. However, the castle had some mysterious and unusual characteristics. Firstly, the stones are fastened together and held in place without mortar. The vast majority of stone buildings use mortar, a hardening paste, to add crucial stability and structure. Instead, the immense stones were set on top of each other, using only their weight to keep them in place. The craftsmanship detail is so fine, and the stones are connected with such precision, that no light passes through the joints. The 2.4 metre tall vertical stones that make up the perimeter wall have a uniform height. Even with the passage of decades, the stones haven't shifted. Some of the more incredible of his works were an obelisk monolith weighing nearly 30 tons, twice the weight of any stone in the Great Pyramid. At 40 feet tall, it was taller than the Great Monolith at Stonehenge. This he quarried and also erected by himself. He carved the huge stones into intricate designs. He also created a rocking chair weighing 3 tons that could be rocked with a solitary finger. The structure also contained a spiral staircase made from one piece of stone that led to a subterranean refrigerator. Another accomplishment was a 5,000-pound heart-shaped coral rock table with a red blooming ixora, a species of flower, growing from its centre. Many of his stones were aligned astronomically and integrated into a grand architectural plan based on mathematical and astronomical data. He created a 30-ton telescope, towering 25 feet tall, perfectly aligned with the North Star. Edward had also made a working sundial that was calibrated to noon of the winter and summer solstice. It was accurate to 2 minutes. Another area of his labyrinth contained 3 18-ton pieces of rock, carved to show the moon in the first quarter, last quarter, and in full. Leedskalnin also had rock carvings of the planets Mars and ringed Saturn, and concentric circles to represent the solar system. The castle truly was a marvel of engineering, but arguably the most famous and mysterious constructions was an 8-foot tall gate which weighed over 8 tons. The gate is carved so that it fits within 1/4 of an inch of the walls. It was so well balanced that a child could open it with the push of a finger. Edward had drilled a longitudinal hole that was precisely aligned with the stone's centre of gravity. He then fitted the hole with a shaft resting on an automobile gear and then installed the door. Even today's modern engineers, using advanced laser and computer technology, would be hard-pressed to duplicate this phenomenal engineering feat. When constructing the castle, he would work alone and mostly at night. He could sense when people would sneak around at night trying to catch him at work. At such times, he would stop his work and only continue after they left. Nevertheless, some people have reported that they did glimpse him at work. One person claims to have seen the rocks move by themselves. Ed's neighbour stated that he saw him singing to the stones, with his hands placed on their surface. A group of young witnesses claimed to see stone blocks floating through the air, like hydrogen balloons. After construction, Leedskalnin eventually opened the grounds to the public, offering tours of the grounds for 10 cents. When he was asked, "How did you build the castle?" he replied, "It's not difficult really. The secret is in knowing how." He would go so far to say that he could see beads of light on objects that he said were the physical presence of nature's magnetism. He explained that scientists have incorrect knowledge of atomic structure and electricity. He also stated that all forms of existence are made up of 3 components: north and south poles, and neutral particles of matter. He claimed to have rediscovered the laws of weight, measurement and leverage, stating that these laws involve the relationship of the Earth to celestial alignments. Beyond these grand and fanciful explanations, Edward didn't say much else. Leedskalnin went on to publish 5 pamphlets on his research and findings in his gift shop, the most famous of which around magnetism. Part of his bizarre research and thesis is as follows. Magnets in general are indestructible. For instance, you can burn wood and flesh. You can destroy the body, but you can't destroy the magnets that hold together the body. They go somewhere else. Iron has more magnets than wood, and every different substance has a different number of magnets that hold the substance together. If I make a battery with copper for positive terminal and beef for negative terminal, I get more magnets out of it than when I used copper for positive and sweet potato for negative. From this, you can see that no 2 things are alike. The brochures about his castle proudly stated, "I have discovered the secrets of the pyramids and have found out how the Egyptians and the ancient builders in Peru, Yucatan and Asia, with only primitive tools, raised and set in place blocks of stone weighing many tons." Leedskalnin continued to run tours of the grounds until 1951, when he became ill. He put a sign on the door of the front gate saying, "Going to the hospital," and took the bus to Jackson Memorial Hospital in Miami. He died 28 days later of a kidney infection at the age of 64. After passing through various hands and points of sale, the castle was sold to Coral Castle Incorporated for $175,000, which was over $500,000 in today's money, in 1981, when it was opened as a tourist attraction. Many books, magazines and television programs have theorized as to how Leedskalnin was able to construct such a structure along with moving stones which weighed many tons. The gate failed in 1986, and when rebuilding it, engineers discovered that the gate was expertly balanced and centered. However, upon repairing the gate, it does not rotate with the same ease that it did originally, meaning that the mystery behind the gate itself has not been fully dispelled. Some conjectured that he used esoteric ancient knowledge to levitate blocks of stone and move them with the aid of the Earth's magnetic energy. Other explanations centre on Leedskalnin's stonemasonry and logging experiences that allowed him to apply his work skills to a tedious process of moving large blocks of stone using levers, wheels, axles, pulleys, ramps and wedges without any electrical equipment. However, there's no definitive answer. Whether this eccentric man had discovered the secrets of the pyramids and magnetism, or was simply a very skilled craftsman with unparalleled determination, continues to be the subject of debate. It's undoubted, though, that the structure is veiled in mystery. If you want to see Coral Castle for yourself, it remains open as a tourist attraction to this day. It can be found in Miami.